I kind of want to get into, and maybe this will turn into a debate, maybe it won't. I kind of want to get into why I feel like DoorDash should not be a primary app. So that look, Kim, that look you're giving me, I can feel it radiating. All right, look. So we just had this big ass long discussion about, the oversaturation and how we're not getting orders and stuff like that. But yet DoorDash is the one app that puts a heavy focus on acceptance rate. So I don't understand why drivers are still playing into that. Uh, if you have to put that much energy into your acceptance rate, I don't. I think that that's an app that should be in the background, and you should just wait for the map to turn red.
Not so much. If you want to, it's going to be depending on your area, right? So DoorDash is one of my prime apps in my area that shoots off the most amount of orders. In order to play, I hate to say, the DoorDash game, like, you have to, in my area, you have to maintain a high AR. You have to, in order to get that Dash Now feature, which is something that I need in my market based off of the oversaturation of drivers. Do I agree with it? Absolutely not. I think
So,
it's the stupidest thing in the whole entire world, but it's something that I need to do in order to make money on the DoorDash platform based off of how many orders it gives me per day.
so you were just a few minutes ago talking about how you have an 80 something percent acceptance rate
Mm-hmm.
and you waited for like 2 hours without seeing an order.
That was just this
That
morning.
Okay, well, that's my DoorDash experience sometimes, right? It doesn't really sound like you
It's
and I
not
have
all,
much of a.
well, that's not all the time. Honestly, I thought the DoorDash app was down this morning, to be completely honest with you, because when I was talking
Yeah.
to a lot of people on, my live this morning, like, a lot of people went through like periods of time this morning that they weren't getting DoorDash orders. I actually thought that the app was down. Is that
Okay.
a norm? No, absolutely not. It's not a
Well,
norm
the
for
app being down is normal, but maybe
well,
not
the
getting
app
orders
being
for a
down
couple
is
of hours.
normal, yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if the app went down
Okay.
this morning, but that's not a
Okay.
norm for me.
So, okay.
It's
I guess it still doesn't really change my opinion, though, that it should be a secondary app because you shouldn't have to do anything that you don't want to do to get hours as a 1099 contractor. So I feel like it's our right as non-employees who cover 100% of our own expenses to sign on whenever we choose to, take the orders we want to take, and ignore the ones we don't without penalty.
in the
But I mean,
perfect
hey,
world, that would be fantastic, but that's not how, unfortunately, DoorDash operates, right? So
yeah, but
you kind
I
of
guess
a lot of times with these apps, you have to adapt to what they do in order to make your money. For me, I'm just taking orders in order to make my money, whether it's DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Instacart, catering apps, whatever you need to do. So I don't believe in being app reliant on just one app. Will an app give you more money over the other ones? Absolutely. But you do what you need to do to make your money.
so. I guess for me in my market, and I'm not going to throw you under the bus here, but for me in my market, if I were to raise my acceptance rate to the point where I could dash now whenever I chose to, that would mean that I'm taking crap orders that would drive my dollar per hour ratio down, and I would just make less money. So
But that's not
instead of
true, though.
putting, well, in my market it is. So instead of putting focus into an app that wants to play games with me rather than just letting me take the orders, I'm just going to treat it as a secondary app, leave it in the background, wait for it to turn red, and then if they send me something that's worth my time, I'll do it. But I'm not gonna sit there and play their pseudo employee games with them. That's not me. That's not an independent contractor. That's a fake fucking employee.
Well, if that's the way it's working in your market, then that's the way it's working in your market. But if you're in a market like mine that's oversaturated and you can't even get on, if you can't get on to DoorDash, you're not making money. That's the whole thing. Like, I need to get on to DoorDash when I need to get on to DoorDash when I want to work. And the means to that, unfortunately, is to keep a high acceptance rate, and that's how I make my money. We're talking I'm still doing like $1,000 weeks on DoorDash based
Yeah.
off of this. So I always say do what works best for you. If a low AR is working for you and you're making money, then stick with it. But in my case, a high AR is what I need to do in order to make money on the DoorDash platform.
So I get that. And Kim, there's one if there's one thing I could say about you is that you don't get walked on. All right.
No.
Like we might have a different approach, but by God, you do not get walked on. You get your money.
I don't like, I feel like there's no choice, right? Like, why would I go out there if I'm not making money? I think that's always been my hustle mentality is if my wheels aren't moving, if my car's not working, I'm not making money. It doesn't matter if it, what order I take, what platform I take. If I'm making money, I'm making money that adds to my totals for my day. Like, I don't want to come home and not make what I need to make in order to achieve my
So
own personal goals.
what would it take for you to be like, okay, enough is enough. I'm just going to do it Zach's way, and I'm going to leave it in the background and just wait for
Yeah,
the
I'm not gonna
opportunity.
do that. I wouldn't do
But
it.
like, what would it? But what would it take?
The Dash Now feature to go away. Honestly, it's the one and only feature I need for the Top Dasher program and maintaining a high AR.
So, if I'm understanding correctly, what you're saying is that they're holding this over our heads to get what they
Oh,
want
they
out of
definitely
us.
are. Absolutely, they
So,
are.
okay, all right, cool. As long as we're on the same page about that, I can relax a little bit here. But Kim, I mean, so I realize that you have had Dash Now for a while. So I don't know if you're going to know this off the top of your head, but it's worth asking. Do you know if you were to watch the map in your market, how
Mhm.
long would it take on average for it to turn red?
It's gray almost all day. Like
So
if
mine is sorry, go ahead.
No, like I mean, I see gray maps just like everybody else. It just means that when it's gray, I can still dash now whenever I want. But I see gray maps anytime I log in, whether it's morning, afternoon, at night, they're always gray.
So my map is almost always gray as well. However, even on like Tuesdays and Wednesdays, Kim, like I've since largely stopped driving um on those days because it's just kind of a waste of time here. But even on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at off-peak times, I could watch the map with it being oversaturated and all, and I could catch a minute or two where it would turn red a few times an hour. So it really isn't a matter of, at least for me in my market, on if I can get on. It's just kind of a patience game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't have patience. I want to go make my money when I want to make it.
Well, see, and I want to make money too, but that's why I have Uber Eats, Spark, and several other apps, right? I can turn those on.
Yeah, that's just funny. I see gray people.
So, yeah, I don't know. My just my synopsis, but Kim, I'm sick of the games in the gig economy. We're making less money, and instead of just paying us fairly, there's always some new gimmick. Okay, it's never, hey, times are tough, so here's like a little, here's 25 cents extra in base pay per order. That never happens.
Yeah.
It's always, hey, times are tough. Here's this gimmick that you didn't ask for.